So good morning everyone. Welcome to yet another day. Today is on Wednesday. Yesterday was a successful day. We traded the CPI news. You can see the target that we had marked. They were all hit. And so we want to see what next with gold. Okay, what next with gold after the CPI? Okay, so today basically we also have some news, but just a key a revisit of yesterday's CPI. The reason probably why we bought the CPI news or why we bought gold during the CPI. You can see this was the data. Okay, this was the data. So the previous was 0.3, that is the core CPI 0.3%. The forecast was 0.3%, and the actual was 0.2%. So that shows a decline. Okay, that shows a decline, meaning USD is affected negatively. That is USD will lost some strength. Okay, so CPI 0.4%. The previous the forecast was 0.1%, and the actual was 0.0%. Okay, so this again is a decline, negative for USD. Then we have 3.7%. That is CPI YY. The previous 3.7%. We have the forecast was 3.3%, and the actual came out as 3.2%. Again, a decline, meaning negative news for USD. Okay, so when we always say that when the actual is, for instance, in this scenario, when the actual is less than the forecast for the CPI, then the data becomes negative. So it affects the USD negative, meaning that the USD decreases in strength. Okay, decreases in strength. So the reason why anything that had USD as good currency, we were buying, like gold, euro, USD and GBPUSD, we were buying. Anything that had USD as base currency, like USD, JPY, it was selling. Okay, so basically that's how we align ourselves fundamentally. So again, today we have some key news. Today. At 10 a.m. we have CPI for GBP. We have CPI for GBP. You can see the forecast is the previous was 6.7%, and they are forecasting 4.7%, meaning that is a decline. Okay, so if the actual data comes in as the prediction here, so that is a decline in CPI YY for GBP. That is in the UK. So this basically means that GBP gonna lose strength. Okay, GBP gonna lose strength, meaning that GBPUSD probably, if GBP loses strength, then pairs like GBPUSD, we will be looking to sell. So anything that has GBP, as base currency, then we shall be looking to sell. And anything that has GBP as quote currency, then we shall be looking to buy. Okay, we shall be looking to buy. That is if the data comes out like it's predicted. If we have a decline in CPI YY for GBP. Okay, for 30 we have news for the USD again today. So we have the core PPI we also have the PPI So these are basically inflation. It's also inflation data. So for the core PPI they are forecasting that it will remain the same like the previous month. That is 0.3%. Then for PPI they are actually forecasting a decline. That is the previous was 0.5%, and they're forecasting 0.1%. So ours will be to wait for the actual data. Okay, so if there is a decline like it's projected, then it means the dollar will be affected negatively, meaning that it will lose strength. Okay, so again, anything that has a dollar as base currency, meaning that now we'll be selling. Anything that has a dollar as good currency will be buying. That is if the data comes negative as it's projected here. Okay, then we have a very significant also data, the core retail sales and the retail sales So they are also predicting a decline. Okay, so for the core retail sales they are projecting a decline. That is negative 0.1% from the previous 0.6%. Okay, retail sales they are forecasting a decline to negative 0.3% from the previous 0.7%, right? So if there is that decline again, when the retail sales decline, then it means that the dollar will be affected negatively, that the dollar is going to lose strength. Okay, so if the dollar is going to lose strength, then you know what to do. When the base currency is greater than has strength, is more strong than the quote currency, when the base currency is more strong than the quote currency, then we look to do what? I believe you can answer that. I've been teaching you that, okay? But I can just mention for those that are watching my videos for the first time. When the base currency is stronger than the quote currency, we buy. When the quote currency is stronger than the base currency, then we sell. Okay, so we also have Empire State Manufacturing Index. They are also yeah, they are projecting an increment that is from negative 4.6 to negative 3.3. That's an increment. Okay, so if there is an increment, then again this becomes positive for the dollar. Okay, but remember, the majority of the news here, the USD, the core PPI the core retail sales the PPI and the retail sales they are all forecasting a decline. Okay, meaning that the dollar will be massively impacted negatively. That is if all this news comes out as negative, like there is it's projected. But again, remember, this just gives us the directional bias, and therefore the reason why we need to wait for the actual data before we take positions. Okay, the reason why we need to wait for the actual data before we take positions. So that is the fundamental outlook. So let's quickly look at the technicals. Okay, let's quickly look at the technicals. So these are the levels we talked about for gold, but before we go into gold, let's basically look very quickly look at the DXY, that is the dollar index. And like you can see, the dollar index has been falling. It has been falling. Okay, it has been falling. It has been really falling. So like I had done some analysis. Let me just delete this. Like we did in the previous video, we had a forecast. We were trying to analyze the dollar index. So you can see it's really dropping. So these are the regions to forecast on. So we said that here we have, you can see here we have this zone. Okay, so here we have this supply zone. So just in case the dollar index maybe goes so this is on the weekly time frame. Okay, this is on the weekly time frame. So this is basically, it's trying to form a supply zone. Okay, so right now we cannot count it as a supply zone because this candle has not closed, so we need to wait for the candle to close. So the zone that is of more essence here, now it is this zone, that is a supply zone. Okay, that is a supply zone. Also, when you look at the daily, time frame, the targets, maybe probably you can be targeting the dollar index to reach maybe all the way to around that level. Okay, all the way to around that level. And in terms of weekly, this is the levels to look at. In terms of weekly, these are the levels to look at. Okay, that is the level to look at weekly. When it comes to daily, this is the level to look at. So basically, you can see right now how the dollar index is moving. So this is creating more of a downtrend. Okay, so we have this series of lower lows and higher high and lower highs. Okay, we have those series of lower lows and lower highs. Okay, so this will be probably the next target. If it flips this target on the downside, then we might be seeing the dollar index going around to 100 level. That is a key institutional number. Okay, that is a key institutional number. So right now we say that this is more on a downtrend. Okay, it's more or on a downtrend. Okay, you can see the down channel, you can see the down channel, you can see the down channel. This is the down channel. So you can see how it's behaving. So it's more of this breakout. Then there is whatever it's trying to do now. You can see it has more strength on the downside. Okay, but again, we need to be very cautious in case it goes on the upside. Probably it might reach to these levels. Okay, it might reach to these levels now to retest the upper trend line, or extend all the way to these the supply zone on the weekly, and then we see maybe a decline. Okay, we see a decline, but in case it proceeds in that direction, the upward direction, then we shall be waiting for this breakout, then retest, and then we see it skyrocketing up. Okay, but the directional bias right now is bearish. The directional bias for the dollar index, it's bearish. Okay, so we look more on the bearish direction. We look more on the bearish direction. So those are the targets that we are looking at in terms of the dollar index. So quickly we go to the USD. Okay, to gold. That is gold. And in gold, like we said yesterday, these are our very zones that we traded yesterday, all that I marked, and the TPs were it. So allow me to delete these. This was TP1, this was TP2, and we had TP3. Okay, so the CPI, it pushed the price all the way to these levels. Okay, it pushed the price all the way to these levels. Okay, so you can see here now we have what we call equal. This is what we call equal highs. Okay, this is what we call equal highs. So when you find these form of equal highs, they act as a magnet to price. Okay, they act as magnet to the price. So you might see the price trying to go up, so that to take these highs, it takes these highs, and then you might experience a retracement before the upward projection. Okay, so remember, according to the data, like we have seen here, this data, the USD data today, they are projecting that the data will have a negative impact. Okay, it will have negative impact. So if they have negative impact on the USD, so probably shall be seeing maybe pairs like gold skyrocket all the way up. Okay, so when we look at upper time frame, let's go to the daily. So you can see from the daily time frame. Okay, from the daily time frame, we have these supply zone. We have this key supply zone in the daily time frame. So if this news goes all the way, becomes negative, okay, if the news become negative for the USD, then we might see gold rally up all the way to around 1985 levels, okay, to around 1985 levels, and then we see that downward movement. Okay, we see that downward movement, but again, remember, we have this very key level where it is at the moment. This is a very key level. That is, it was a support level. Okay, it was a support level, and right now there was the breakout, and then the retest, and the reason why you can see prices are struggling to come past these levels. Okay, but in case the news become negative, okay, for the USD, the ones that we are waiting today, you might see gold come all the way to these levels before now going on the downside, okay, before going on the downside. But from the 4-hour time frame, this is what we have from the 4-hour time frame. Okay, this is what we have from the 4-hour time frame. So you can see what the price is forming. The reason why we might anticipate this gold to come all the way to these levels, you can see the price action, the candlesticks, I mean the chart patterns. Okay, so this is the chart pattern. This is the chart pattern. The inverse head and shoulder, which becomes critical in terms of bullishness, okay, which becomes critical in terms of bullishness. So let's see this head and shoulder, the inverse head and shoulder. We have this inverse head and shoulder. So this is the left shoulder. Then we have this, okay, we have that. Then we have around that level. Just a moment. Okay, just a moment. So this was the leg. Okay, this was the leg. So we might see gold come all the way to that level. We might see gold come all the way to these levels because of this inverse head and shoulder, because of this inverse head and shoulder pattern. Okay, inverse head and shoulder pattern. So again, what increases the odds is the supply zone above this level, that is from the daily time frame. This increases the probability. Okay, it increases the probability that gold might try to come all the way to those upper regions, all the way to those upper regions. So from the daily time frame, from the monthly, I mean from the weekly, from the daily, from the 1 hour, all we can see, this is what we call inefficiency. This is what we call inefficiency. So probably because of the resistant level on the daily time frame, we might see prices come all the way down, maybe retrace to some point. They might come to this level to retest this level. Remember, this was a consolidation. We had the breakout due to the news, and probably might see price come down to these levels to do the retest, but again, so in case they comes to these levels, then I'll be looking to maybe probably buy from these levels. Okay, these are the levels I might be looking to buy from. But again, we be guided by the news. We wait for the actuals. We wait for the actual so that we can be able to know where the market is going. Okay, so quickly we look at EURUSD. I know there are those that don't trade gold, so let's be fair to everyone. So for the EURUSD, you can see, like I said, we had this setup running last week. The prices were ranging, and you can see yesterday the price reached our target. So but basically this is how the prices has been moving. Okay, so this has been an up channel. Okay, it has been an up channel. And guys, remember what we said, when the trend is an uptrend, because up channel meaning that this is a trend line. Okay, so in this scenario, basically you see, if you are buying from the downside, you are buying from the lower trend line. So this means that you are taking high probability trade setup. Okay, so the reason why I usually tell you to avoid selling at these levels on the upper trend line, avoid selling at these levels, especially when we have this up channel. Okay, because an up channel means that the prices are in an uptrend. Okay, so higher chances is that these prices might continue on the upside. Okay, so the reason why for you taking high probability trade setups means that you only need to be buying. Okay, and the reason why I have been bullish, for EURUSD. Okay, so let's see from this chart. Let's see from this chart. So you can see this level in the 4-hour time frame. This was a very key support zone. Okay, the reason why my entries were based on this support zone. You can see the price struggled for some time. The price struggled for some time before breaking through those levels. Okay, so if we peep at daily, if we look at the daily, you can see probably here we have a level, but this level was tested. This was a supply level. It was tested at this point. Okay, it was tested at this point. So this was the trading point for this supply level. So the second time that the price is coming here is always not a guarantee. Okay, it's always not a guarantee. So this supply zone is already tested. So you can see how the price dropped after retesting that zone. And this second time is not a guarantee, like I said. So I don't like trading that levels. Okay, so if the news come negative for the USD today, then we might be looking at probably price going through up this demand, this supply zone. So we might want to see price go throughout this break through this supply zone, then a retest, and then we see the continuation of the upward movement. And definitely for you to know where the price is going, you look at the previous, so that you look at the previous, so that you can be able to predict the next levels. Okay, so these are the next level that I'm seeing maybe EURUSD go if the news will be positive. So we have that level around that region, and also we have this key level here. We have this key supply zone at that point. Okay, so probably this might be my target around these levels, but the first target is around 1.09850, this level, and then maybe you might see the price go all the way to the upside. Okay, to that demand supply zone. So on the 1 hour time frame, it is quite some time when EURUSD reached that level, maybe around August. Yeah. So around, it was quite some time. It was quite some time. So since September, yeah, it's like maybe we are on October, we are in November. Okay, so October, it was the last time EURUSD was in this level. And so from the 1 hour time frame, again, you can see this is a very critical level. Again, you can see we have these the supply zone here in the 1 hour time frame. Okay, this is the supply zone in the 1 hour time frame. So that is the zone. And so we might see the price come to these regions due to the news, and then maybe probably go up to these levels. Okay, so but again, all you need to do, okay, so you can see this level is very critical, like we said. Okay, so on the downside, in case we have a down movement, then I'll be looking for a retest of this channel, the upper trend line in this channel, a retest, then probably go up. Remember, again, this is inefficiency, so the price does not move in inefficiency, so it has to come down to cover this inefficiency. So if the price drops to cover the inefficiency, then we shall be looking at maybe retest of this trend line. If it goes lower down, maybe we look at up to this level. Okay, we look up to these levels. This is the support. This is the support. Okay, so at this support level, and then probably we can take our long position. Okay, from these levels, we can take a position from that level, targeting these levels that we have talked about. Targeting these levels that we have talked about. That is a risk to reward ratio of 1:3.3. Okay, a risk to reward ratio of 1:3.3. Okay, so you can mark that in your chart. You can mark that in your chart. Okay, so quickly we look at GBPUSD. The same case, we had our trade setup here. We had this trend line. We had this trend line, and we had this demand zone. Okay, we had this demand zone. So this setup had given as a result of this demand zone, and you can see the price came all the way down to that demand zone, and you can see how the price went up. Okay, you can see the price went up, and yesterday, from as a result of the news, we achieved our target. That is a risk to reward ratio of 1:3. Okay, so even if you're not trading the demand, this demand zone, you can see the candlestick pattern that formed, the 4-hour candlestick pattern. So this candlestick pattern here, we have the pin bar. Okay, we said that when you find such kind of a pin bar that closes as a sell candle, you wait for the next candle to close as a buy candle. Okay, you wait for the next candle to close as a buy candle. So let me delete that. So this is the pin bar. So we wait for the next candle to close as a buy candle. So this is where we could have taken a buy entry, okay, at that level. And you can see the price went up. So you could have taken this position basing on this demand zone, or you could have used the candlesticks pattern. Remember, I always say that candlesticks speaks volumes. Okay, they speaks volume. So we had these retest, we had this breakout from this supply, this zone here. This is a resistance zone that was broken out. Okay, we have a resistance zone there that was broken out, and like I said again, this is inefficiency. This is inefficiency. So we might see price maybe retrace a little bit downwards. Okay, we might see the price retrace a little bit downwards to cover this inefficiency, before we see the continuation of the uptrend. Okay, so from the 1 hour time frame, from the daily time frame, again, you can see this is a very critical area. This is a very critical area. So the reason why prices will struggle here for some time before gaining the upward momentum, probably. Also, you can see, you can appreciate the price action. You can see the uptrend, the upper trend line that was broken. So you might see a retracement, retest this trend line, and then we see the upward movement. Okay, so our targets in the upside, our target on the upside, we shall be looking at these levels. Let me minimize this so that you can have a clear view. So on the upside, then if the prices continue to go up, then we shall be targeting these levels. These are the levels to look at. Okay, these are the levels to look at. Then we have these levels here, and then finally we have these supply zone. Okay, we have a supply zone here from the 4-hour time frame, which is very critical. We can't ignore it. So we might see the price go up, rally up all the way to this level before we start seeing probably a retracement on the downside. Okay, before we start seeing a retracement on the downside. I am bullish for GBPUSD. I am bullish for EURUSD. Okay, so that is it. So in case the price retraces downwards to these levels, then these are the levels that probably you might want to take your buy entries. Okay, so the first level we said is the retest of this breakout here, when it's coming to retest the upper trend line as well. So you can see this is a point of confluence. We have the resistance and we have the trend line, the upper trend line. Okay, so we might see a retest that level. If price drops further, then we might see a price come all the way to these resistant to this resistance that was broken as well. So this can be very high probability setup. It can be a very high probability setup, giving us a very good target to around this level. Okay, that is around 3.93 risk to reward ratio, around 3.93 risk to reward ratio. So you can mark that in your charts. Okay, you can mark that in your charts. So basically, that's the overview of everything. Okay, that's the overview of what we are expecting. But now, you know, we always take what the price gives us. Okay, we take what the price gives us. So, but that is the directional bias basically. But I want to emphasize something here. We said this is from a head and shoulder pattern. Remember, the market makers are very, we know the normal head and shoulder patterns. They know we know these head and shoulder patterns, the normal ones, we know them very well, okay? So the reason why, again, you might see they might tend to trick you a bit, okay? They might tend to trick you a bit. So someone might look at this and say this is not a head and shoulder pattern, but this is a head and shoulder pattern, okay? It can come even in a slanted manner, okay? In this design, okay? In a slanted way, so as to try and confuse you. It doesn't need to come in a straight way. It doesn't need to come in a very straight manner, okay? So let me delete that and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. So the reason why I'm saying you need to be look at the market. I usually tell my students you need to look at the market with 360 degrees eyes, okay? With 360 degrees eyes, 3D, 3 dimensions, okay? So that being said, let me go to GBPUSD real quick. Since we have some news 10 p.m. GBPUSD, we have some news, CPI news at 10 p.m. Okay, and from this CPI news, we are seeing a decline. They are projecting a decline. So if we're gonna have a decline of the CPI news for GBPUSD, then it means that GBPUSD will be affected negatively. Okay, will be affected negatively, and the reason why, from what we have seen, from the charts that we have marked here, so this was a buy setup. So if we have negative news for GBP USD CPI, we might see the prices for GBP USD coming all the way down. Okay, we might see the prices for GBP USD coming all the way down, and these will be the regions to look for the buy entries. These levels, probably if the price reaches to these levels. Okay, so like I said, we just wait now. We wait for the data. So that is the technical bit of it, but we now wait for the actual data so that we can know which positions to take. Okay, so I might not be trading live for this news, for the GBPUSD news, for the GBP news. I might also not be trading live for the retail news and the PPI news we have today for USD, but at least this has given you direction that you can be able to mark these areas and appreciate how the price is moving, so that now you can be able to position yourself accordingly. You can be able to position yourself accordingly. You can see these the news, they are very easy to predict. They are very easy to predict, but the secret is to wait for the news to be released. That is the actual data, and then you are able to take a position. Okay, you are able to take a position, right? So allow me to end at that level. Watch the levels that we have talked about, mark them out in your chart, and let's see how the price unfolds. Okay, so thank you so much, and I wish you a very prosperous, successful trading Wednesday. Okay, so I appreciate so much, and thank you, and all the best.